people have crime, let that happen, because it's really dangerous for our country, and I can't believe the Supreme Court would let that stand.
What kind of movement do you consider substantial from China?
Well, free up China, let us go in and work China, because frankly, that's what we wanted last time. We almost got it, and then they backed out of that deal, but we had it. To go into China and to sell our product, sell our wares. In other words, it's called to open China. That would be great. That would be a big win. But I'm not even sure I'm going to ask for it, because they don't want it open. They don't want it open.
On the immigration front,
I think they do the tariffs. But because of tariffs, I could possibly get that. What do you think? Opening up China would be a big win, right? The problem is, no matter how big the win is, the press will not give me credit for it. If I got the greatest win in history, they'll pay us trillions and trillions of dollars. They'll give us anything we want. The press will say, Trump, he just had a terrible defeat. He suffered a terrible defeat. But the people know. No, I think we're going to have a lot of big wins. I don't know if it's going to be covered that way by the fake news, but the wins are going to be very substantial. We were losing with Biden, $5 billion a day. Think of that, $5 billion a day. I've got that number way down, and soon it's going to be very, very positive. We'll be making $5 billion a day, but we have a little ways to go yet.
Mr. President, can I ask you about the Texas Senate primary? The Texas Senate primary with John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. Are you going to get involved? Have you talked to the candidates?
Well, they're both friends of mine. I like them both. In a way, I wish they weren't running against each other. But I like Paxton. I like Cornyn. They're both good people. So I'll make a decision somewhere along the line. But you have two very good men.
I have a question on your immigration agenda. Yesterday, a judge in San Francisco put a nationwide injunction on you guys taking money away from sanctuary cities. Your reaction to that? Then I have a question about the markets.
It's unbelievable when you hear a judge in San Francisco or a judge in San Diego does nationwide injunctions having to do with the whole country, sitting behind a bench, a local bench, even though in some cases, in many cases, they're a federal judge, but a judge can close down. We should close down sanctuary cities. We shouldn't have sanctuary cities. And we'll see how that turns out. But sanctuary cities are sanctuary for criminals. That's what they are. They're sanctuary for criminals. They protect criminals. And we should close them down. If we want a safe country, you have to get rid of sanctuary cities.
India and Pakistan, there are tensions after the attack in Kashmir. Have you got any message for them? Are you going to be talking to their leaders?
I'm close to India and I'm very close to Pakistan, as you know, and they've had that fight for 1,000 years in Kashmir. Kashmir's been going on for 1,000 years, probably longer than that. And it was a bad one yesterday, though. That was a bad one. Over 30 people.
Are you concerned that there's now tensions on the border between them? Are you concerned about, how concerned are you about that?
There have been tensions on that border for 1,500 years. So, the same as it's been. But they'll get it figured out one way or the other. I'm sure that is. I know both leaders. There's great tension between Pakistan and India, but there always has been.
So you've done the 190-day pause on some of the tariffs. Is it possible you'll have to do another 90-day or another extension
Probably
of the pause?
unlikely. I think I know pretty much. And again, we'll have deals made, but we'll also make deals. In other words, we'll just set the tariff and we'll be reasonable, very reasonable, and that'll be the end. That's the deal. Because, we set the price. They want to come in. Now, they set the price for their country, but everybody wants to come into ours. They don't want to come into theirs. Most people don't want to come into theirs.
Do you think the markets are adjusting to your tariff policy?
So when you look at what's happening, I think so. I said there'd be a transition. People haven't understood it. Now they're starting to understand it. Look, think of it this way. We've lost billions of dollars a day for years on trade. Billions. Not going to happen. We're going to make billions of dollars a day. because that's not sustainable.
Mr. President, can you commit that nobody on your financial team was giving any type of tips to Wall Street executives about deals with India? There was some reporting yesterday that people had heads up on Wall Street, possibly to make money. Can you commit that that did not
I
happen?
can commit to myself. That's all I can commit. You know, I have thousands of people that work for me, but I can't imagine anybody doing that. I have very honorable people that I can say, so I can't even imagine it. But no, I haven't even heard that actually.
Sir, there have been some concerns about access to food, medicine coming into Gaza. When you spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu the other day, did that come up at all about access and humanitarian aid going into the Strip?
Gaza came up, and I said, you know, we gotta be good to Gaza. Those people are suffering. We gotta be good to Gaza. We're gonna take care of that. There's a very big need for medicine, food and medicine, and we're taking care of it.
In terms of like opening up more access points or
Very hard.
pushing the Israelis
We are.
to open up more access
Very
points?
hard to get food and medicine into Gaza.
How did the Prime Minister respond to that?
Well, felt well about it. Okay?
We've got these Iran technical talks tomorrow in Oman. What do you think? Any kind
The
of
Iran situation's coming out very well. We've had a lot of talks with them, and I think we're going to have a deal. I'd much rather have a deal than the other alternative. That'd be good for humanity.
Will it start with an interim deal of some sort, or how is it
I
going to
think
work?
it's going to be pretty much, we're not looking to do lots of long-term. It's a very simple deal. One thing, they just can't have a nuclear weapon. I'm saving them a lot of money just on that. Having a nuclear weapon is really expensive, but it's also very dangerous, and they can't have a nuclear weapon. And just that, I'm saving them billions and billions of dollars, because that's what it would cost. Now, with that being said, the Iran deal is coming along very well. We're dealing at the highest levels of Iran, and I think they want to make a deal, and we want to make a deal. There are some people that want to make a different kind of a deal, a much nastier deal, and I don't want that to happen to Iran if we can avoid it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What's on tap for Melania's birthday?
Oh, she's gonna have a great birthday. she's got a working birthday. She's up front. I should send her back. You want to have somebody answer a question? I'll send her back into the lion's pit. Susie, let's send Melania back to the lion's pit. That's funny.
Are you taking her to dinner, Mr. President?
By the way, they would love that, wouldn't they? Put her in. She'd be so innocent.
Can we see your office up there sometime this weekend?
Yeah, you can come up. We'll let them come up a little bit later. Okay? We'll do it.
Are you taking Melania to dinner?
Are you taking Mrs. Trump to dinner, or have you had time to get her a present? You've been very busy.
I'll take her for dinner on the Boeing. I'll take her for dinner on Air Force One.
There you go.
I haven't had much time to my presents. We've been pretty busy, but it's working out. Things are working out very well, and people are starting to understand how good tariffs are for us. And you know, tariffs have been used against us for 50 years. Now, I never understood it as a private person why we allowed that to happen. You know, it goes back a long time, but I never understood it. Why did we allow that to happen? Where we couldn't go into China, but they could come here. We couldn't go into Europe, but they could come here. Every place. We couldn't go into India, they could come here. I never understood why they allowed that. And I don't blame the countries, I blame the presidents for allowing it to happen. But you have a different kind of a precedent now, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.